mention the name of Dee Gruenig of Posh Impressions while you're with a veteran rubber stamper, and you'll hear a glee of happiness. Everyone that has begun or has pursued the art of rubber stamping knows her name and her enthusiasm for this growing art form. Dee, an artist in her own right, holds a master's from Stanford and is a former teacher. She now enjoys teaching what can be done with a rubber stamp to the thousands of interested people she has met over her 12 years in the business. The results are amazing. One simple image, add some color, skill, and creativity, and wow, what outstanding and wonderful ideas start to flow. This video will give you the opportunity to meet Dee herself and also the chance to learn from the best. Get ready to hear and learn her 7 secrets to successful stamping.
I'm so eager to share with you today via this video. After teaching thousands in workshops, we're going to condense it and give you the best in techniques and 12 years of stamping experience. I don't want to go on any further. I want to get started. Now, secret number 1. I'm asked once, I'm asked a dozen times, how to get organized. And this is a specialty of mine. I like to get everything ready in an area and a place so that when I'm ready to stamp, everything is there. I don't have to get up to go for scissors, tape, or whatever. Now, this is my arrangement. First of all, I begin with a pad of paper underneath my stamp area. I like 11 by 17 because if you do any large stamping or big surfaces, that helps. It doesn't have to be a colored piece of paper. It can be white, and it's copy paper, very easy to obtain. I have my pens always to my right side, right-handed, and I have arranged them in a holder. You'll see when I get into next sections of how I arrange the pens in a holder. I have secondary pens. I have a holder here with all of my materials such as scissors, glue pen, calligraphy, extra pens in case I get certain colors colored with other pens, X-Acto knife, whiteout. We'll come to all of those later. I have a stamp cleaner. I've recently found through a lot of travel that I take an old hairspray container and fill it with a mixture of half Windex or window cleaner, half water, or stamp cleaner. This makes it very, very easy and watered down, and I spray it on, oh, I think you're going to love this. It's a fuzzy pad, we call it, and I just do the spraying on here. That way, when my stamp is dirty, it has a stand-up area, almost like Velcro or nylon, and I can wipe my stamp off very effectively. Now, another particular thing that is very helpful is an arrangement of your rubber stamps. People are always asking me, how do you store your stamps? I found the most effective way is with trays, any size. If your collection is small, go with small trays. Go to any craft store and get a boxed frame. Boxed frames look kind of like this. This happens to be 11 by 14. And what you do is make an arrangement of stamps in the tray. Let me show you with a smaller one right here. You do your arrangement of stamps. When they are all puzzled together, merely flip this over on a copy machine. Get your images, put that on the bottom underneath, kind of like this. And then arrange your stamps according to your arrangement with a copy machine. Therefore, when you're going for a rose stamp, you know where the rose stamp. You've always put the rose stamp right next to the foxglove. It makes it very easy. It doesn't take a large area. I want you to know that. I mean, I have a wonderful arrangement here in which I'm going to be showing you a lot of visuals. But recently I went on a trip to the Far East. Now, my favorite way of spending 16 hours on a plane, of course, is rubber stamping. I was able to get every single bit of my materials in a carrier only this big. Now you can see I have 36, no less than 36 rubber stamps. Sure, they're a little bit smaller. I have my pens in a section, my towel for my lap, my small container for cleaners, scissors, sponges, and everything. A wonderful way to pass the time of 16 hours. So you see how good organization really gets you off to the right start. Now on to the second step. I'm often asked, how do I get such brilliant results? It's easy. Just remember 3 things. First, glossy paper stock. If it's not glossy, get a coated stock. This allows the color to stay on the surface rather than be absorbed. Second, a bold surface stamp. Now, what does that mean? Let's take an illustration here. I have 2 stamps in my hand. I have one with a bold surface, such as the geranium, one with an open image, more or less a line design. This is going to show much more color than the tote. You're going to see this illustrated. Let's look on the back. The raised portion shows the portion that will be colored. Much more color will fit on the geranium than on the lined image of the tote. Now, one hint that you often find with bold images. When they come fresh out of the mold, a lot of silicone is used to get them out of the vulcanizer as stamps are made. That means that there is a silicone residue on the back of the stamp. Now, let's take the illustration of this, this balloon stamp. I'm going to take a light color, because this often happens on a light color, and put it over, and you can see it's beating up the color. This will not give you a clear image. Simple trick. Clean off the stamp, just blot it off. Go to your beauty supply, your local one, and get a pumice sponge. This comes in many forms. Here I have an abrasive, whatever is used for nails. Not too harsh, but it will braze the surface. I do this in a circular motion. Get off that, that seal, and of course wipe it off. Now my color will go on absolutely perfectly. Here I'm going to do a little bit of orange and a little bit of yellow, and then stamp it. Now, as I do this, I hope this happens that it blots beads up. Yes, it did. Immediately turn it over. Remember I said this backup paper is going to come in handy. That takes the excess off, and we have a pure image. 2 hints that are very, very important to remember. Ready to get stamping. Now, your pens, as I mentioned, are so important. I have designed a holder at a slant. I've glue gunned in the pens. The lid is in there. It will never come out. Well, you know, not very often. These pens are all loose. They can be shaken out. This makes it so much faster for me to grab a pen. You want to make this easy. Easy for you to change your color and grab at your pens quickly. The pens are such good quality. They're made by Marva Uchida. They're the best pens on the market. Each one of them has a number for a color, and I'm going to refer to that color. And their lifespan is about a year to 16 months. All right, holder back in place. Let's get started. I'm going to take the lined image first and a light lavender pen. Now you notice I'm going to take the side of the pen and go right over the back of the raised portion only. You don't have to be particularly careful. Everyone in the beginning is worried that they get the color in the right place. Don't worry, all of the art has been done. I call this art without anxiety, because all of the art is in the stamp. Now, there is a slight shadow underneath that tote handle, so I'm going to emphasize that handle, and we're all set. Now, when you go to stamping, make sure you don't rock the stamp, just press down. Make sure all 4 corners are pressed. And wow, you have the image of the tote. See how easy? Now let's clean off the stamp. We haven't addressed that. We take this pad. All this pad is a replacement paint pad available at any hardware store. It's fuzzy. I'm going to refer to it as a fuzzy pad. It has fibers that stick up. That means I'm going to get my stamp clean all inside. Now I refresh it with a little bit of stamp cleaner mixed with water or window cleaner. I merely twist. Don't go back and forth, just twist. And all the color will come off of the stamp. Now remember, this is real wet. You go to a cloth in your lap and dry off that image. And everything is ready. Okay. I have my tote. Let's put the broad images right inside the tote. Sorry, I'm looking. For a block, I'm going to take a piece of tracing paper from my stamp positioner area. That way I can see the tote underneath, but I'm going to have a block so that the geranium will not fall down back into the tote. Let's choose a color. This is number 7 brush art marker. It's an orange, a very brilliant orange. And I'm going over the back of the stamp. I'm going to change the color to a pink. This is number 9. I think it's one of my favorite colors. Now, I've never been known to stick with one color green. I'm going to start off with number 48 green and go one side of the leaf area with 48. Then I'm going to go to number 4. This is a wonderful Christmas green. Now, as I look, it's a little bit juicy. I may have to blot and turn this over, so we're prepared for that. I merely stamp the image way down and get up, and I have a beautifully stamped geranium. It's hard to believe how bright and brilliant it is, and how easy. Now, we're going to change the color, so let's clean. Twist off that old color off the pad, dry it again, and let's get on new color. This time, let's pick maybe number 31, which is a wonderful violet. And let's go deeper with maybe magenta below. That's number 20. Back to greens. Let's go in the turquoise greens this time. Number 14 over here, turquoise. And then let's blend with number 34 green. Now, another hint. This is pretty juicy in the leaves. I'm going to let it sit a little on my paper, only to get off the excess. Okay, now I'm going to put it up to my mouth and breathe on it with warm, moist air. That reactivates the ink. Press, and wow! It couldn't be easier. You saw how easy it was to get bright effects with your glossy paper stock, your pens, and your bold images. Now I'm going to address colored blends with the pens. This, I think, is the secret to stamping a Posh Impression stamp. I'm taking the heart stamp, turning it over, and I'm going to start now with the lightest color. I'm starting with this is number 5 yellow pen. And I'm going to go over the top with number 5. Now I'm going to go the next shade darker. It's like a golden yellow, number 43, and blend it right next door to that. Now my blend is very, very even. I don't need to do what I'm going to do in the next step. Now I'm going to coral, number 35, with a strip there. That blends very well with the golden yellow. Now I'm going to number 7. Blending that. All of these are blending together beautifully. Not so with the next color. Number 9 is a very, very rich pink. But there's more contrast between the orange and the pink. So my trick is now to go back to the lighter color, number 7, and that line that is strong there, to reinforce that with the lighter color pen. Now, you'll notice your pen will get dirty with the other color. Very easy. When you have a quality pen, this works beautifully. Merely take your window cleaner, spray it on a paper towel this time, and take that orange, which is now a dirty orange, run it, roll it over in the Windex, and you'll get pure orange, light orange again. Thus, you have not hurt your pen in the least. Now on to the next color. Now that we've blended, we're going to go to number 31. This is a great, wonderful lavender. But I have a strong edge. So now back to number 9. I think you're getting the picture how I have to go back. Now from that color on to number 20, a very, very strong color. Now go back to the lighter color, number 31, to blend that line. Now on to blue, number 10. Boy, this is a strong color right here. So all the more important to go back to number 20 and cover that adjoining line. Remember, if your pen is dirty, just wash it in that Windex and you get pure color again. Now on to the last color, number 48, green, which blends very beautifully with the blue. All right, we're ready. Now you've noticed I've talked quite a bit of time. The air has dried out the first colors that I've done. And remember this very easy hint. Breathe on the image with warm, moist breath, and that activates all of the pigment in the stamp. Now press down. Without rocking the stamp. It may have looked like I was rocking the stamp, but I haven't. I'm just pressing all 4 corners. And wow! Look at your blended image. Now, I am a very particular stamper. You'll notice small little holes that I want to correct. I go to my secondary pen over here. These are Le Plumes. Every single one of these colors has a corresponding number. If number 20 has a little area that needs to be touched up, I pull number 20 pen and touch it up right there. Right here, number 7, my orange needs touching up. So I pull this pen and touch up the orange. I keep these pens always pure, never getting other colors mixed up on them. Now here, this is a coral. Let's get the coral and cover that up. Whoops. Right there. Here's a better coral to touch up. And now our image has been touched up. A very important thing. You don't want to get discouraged to some of the areas of the stamp. By some means, don't get pressed. We go to our fuzzy pad and clean our stamp off again. All right, now I've shown you how to blend a wide heart. But let's get into something that will show you another type of blending, such as a word stamp. One of my favorites, since in a business you're always sending a lot of thank you notes, is to take the thank you stamp and to show you blending through that stamp. Now, my reason of making a giant thank you is very, very simple. It occupies most of the stamp area, so you do not need to do a lot of embellishments, although you can. So we're taking the thank you stamp, turning it over. You see a lot of bold area. Now, I notice glitter. Another hint. When you see glitter on the back of the raised image, it is extremely important to get that glitter off. I do that with Scotch tape, right up here. You put it on the surface and the Scotch tape will lift up any of the glitter. The glitter has a very adhesive quality and you can't even wash it off, but Scotch tape will do the trick. All right, now my stamp image is all ready to go again. I'm going to start this time with number 20. It's a wonderful magenta color. You'll notice how juicy, what good quality these pens are. From there, I'm going to go to our lavender, number 31. From lavender, I'm going to go to number 9, the pink. From number 9 to number 7. Now these blends, I'm checking to make sure they're very even. From there, I'm going to go to yellow and blend that into the orange. From yellow, now let's go to green. Turning the stamp the other way and going with a very light green, then blending to a darker green. Now, I want you to see, close up and personal, how strong those two colors are together. This is not going to be a pretty sight if we were to turn the stamp over. You'd get this strong blend instead of a smooth blend. So I go back to my lighter color pen, as I showed you in the heart, and get it smooth again. This is my secret. It always works when you do this. Okay, on to blue, then on to a dark blue. And then let's finish up with purple. Boy, is this a good, strong, vivid color. Now, I always say the larger the stamp, the more calories you burn. So now an added benefit, physical. So what I do is I huff and puff. Be careful you don't pass out. Put the stamp down and now lift up and really, really press. And wow. This is a wonderful thank you, but you're even going to see more with embellishments that you won't be able to believe. Now I am ready to roll up my sleeves and get stamping. We're going to visualize an artistic composition. You think of the stamps in your collection. In the case of Posh Impressions, so many of them work well together. So you want to think in terms of that. Now let's get started. I'm going to do a forest scene because I so enjoy showing how grass builds up so easily and is a very, very effective visual look. I'm going to achieve the grass effect by using two types of grass, hilltop grass and a wild grass. Now I'm going to start, this is key, with a very light green. This color is not going to be that good looking, but it's key to my getting dimension in my composition. So we take the grass, we color it. The grass stamp has a lot of fine detail, so the first image I'm going to press on my backup paper. Now I'm ready to start stamping. It gets a little noisy. All right, remember, press it here and stamp. Now I just keep stamping until all of the color has gone out. I almost can do this with my eyes closed, it's so easy. All right, my first base coat, so to speak. Next, I go to the next shade darker. Number 34, it's a wonderful summer green. Again on the back of the grass. Now look what this color does. It's starting to add some dimension, but we are long from being finished. On to the next darker shade. Number 48, this is a wonderful leaf green. Can you begin to see the difference? On to a darker color. This time a turquoise. Turquoise is number 14. Wow. Look how it's taking shape. Now on to number 4. This is a wonderful Christmas green. And then we finish up with my favorite secret weapon, number 25 bottle green. It's like frosting on a cake. You use it very sparingly, just for accent. And wow, we're not finished by any means. We need the detail. We get the detail with wild grass. Again, I start with my very lightest shade. Remember that color? 52 green. The one that doesn't look so hot but gives you a wonderful backup. I put that high on the hillside. Now that needs to be darkened with number, let's say 43. Let's jump to 43 already. And I just accent there. Now I'm going to a much stronger color, number 4 for accent. I go on the intermediate hills with number 4 green. Oh, this is such fun. It's just unbelievable how it takes shape. Now, my weapon, number 25 bottle green. Now this, I go over the foreground, and wow, does it stand out. Now my grass is finished. Now, grass a composition does not make. I'm going to add trees. First, let's clean off those stamps with a fuzzy pad. Put them away. And go to our tree. Oh, we could do any shade of brown, grays. Okay, and we're going to plant one on one side. Now, if it's ever juicy, just turn it over and blot it off like we're doing right now. The other tree, of course we don't want it in the same color. Let's get a lighter brown. Okay, now we have the bare skeleton of trees on a hillside. Now the fun begins. We're going to put foliage on the trees. I'm going to take a stamp called Leafy Limb, again starting with the light colors. You'll know my secret. Blot it first and go over the tree. It's very light again, so we go the next shade darker. This is going to begin to sound familiar, and you'll see how very easy and effective it is to build up your greens in this manner. Now to number 48. Now on to number 4. Back to 25 bottle green, favorite. Oh, wow. One tree has been built up. Now let's go to the other tree and maybe try another type of a limb. This is called spring sprig. Instead of doing the yellow greens, I'm going to do a buildup of only the turquoise greens to get variation. This is a very important part in doing composition, varying the colors. All right, we're starting with 34. Again, blotting it. This is a much different feel in this leaf pattern, and that's good. I always do more of my lighter color, doing fewer and fewer as the color gets darker. I'm going to do a double color here. There's no harm. You don't even have to clean your stamps off between colors of green. They just build on each other. Now we're going to go to number 33, which is an oriental blue, which matches very well with the, it's to the blue scene. It's the dramatic frosting on the cake to the blue colors and turquoise colors, just like 25 was to the yellow greens. And we have a buildup of the tree. Now I'm going to show you other examples where we've taken different colors. We've done a forest scene in the winter. We'll do one in the fall, and you will see how very effective using different pens on the same stamps can be. Now we're really getting into some serious stamping. This time, let's do a floral composition. We'll begin the floral composition with a stamp such as Clearly Wrapped. We need to have something to put a floral arrangement in. All right, now very, very easy to color in. We're taking blue, coloring in the back of the composition. In other words, the background of this bag. This is, by the way, number 10 blue, a wonderful rich blue. And I'm going to highlight the ribbon. Let's highlight the ribbon in magenta. Before you stamp, make sure every area is covered. Now, I took a long time, huff and puff. Stamp this at a slant. Now again, touch up. I see one area that didn't get. So I go to the fine point. This is a double-edged dual pen. Right here, and go over that one area that didn't get stamped. Now, while this stamp, it has a little bit of ink left into it, I'm going to grab a spare piece of paper, tracing paper again. Going to breathe on it again and stamp it. This is going to form my block or stencil or mask. It can be referred to in any way. Very carefully, I'm going to cut this stencil out all around the edges. After having cut the stencil, you see how this fits right over the image? So then it is a block to my flowers going inside the bag. I'm going to begin the flowers with probably the strongest and the one that's most upright. It's an iris. Let's choose maybe a blue theme. I'm going to be using an array of colors. I think you'll be able to see with these wonderful close-up shots what colors I'm using. Again, I love to vary greens. No two stems have the same color green. Slight block and then press. Wow. Touch up right with the blue. Some glitter must have escaped on that stamp. On to the carnation. Use pinks. Now on to the rose. Let's make it lavender. Why not? Stencil in place. Let's stamp. At this point, I'm looking for a stamp that is going to go very far to the right, and I find that in the fuchsia. It's going to go way over to the side, and that's what I want because I'm fanning out this arrangement. Start with lavender again. Now on to a daffodil. Now, you notice I'm doing this at random, guessing where these flowers would go. A tool became available on the market several years ago called the Stamp Positioner, designed by Stampa-Barbara. It is the most marvelous tool for accuracy. What I do, I'd like to explain how it's used. I have it in this holder right here. I color up the stamp with the colors that I plan on using. In this case, yellows, 2 shades, of course. Add a little orange. a stem on it. Now here's the plan. I take this like a T-square and I put it down with a piece of tracing paper in its corner. I take the stamp and put at right angles right down here. Now I'm not going to stamp hard. I'm going to stamp so I get an impression. Just a little. All right, now, this is the best part. I now can take this and arrange where I want this to go. I want this to fit in between the carnation and the iris, and I never would have guessed it otherwise. So with the use of the stamp positioner, I get it exactly where I want it without anything going in the wrong direction. There it is in a place I'm comfortable with. Now I merely take the positioner, put it back in place according to where I have the tracing paper, lift off the tracing paper, breathe on my stamp with warm, moist air, and press it down, and I have this exactly where I wanted it to go. A fabulous tool. Now, for balance, as I look at my composition, it's getting full, but I need something to go over to the left-hand area. So again, my block goes on, and I'm going to ink up. Let's go with the geranium again. All right, now I want you to gain something from arrangement. When I finish a composition like this, I'm not by any means finished, but I'm finished with a section of it. I assess what it needs. Now when you do regular floral arranging, you need fillers, and that's what I need here. This is just too open, but I don't want any more heavy flowers. So I'm going to a filler, which can be any leaf or green stamp. In this case, I'm going to go to one that I used in the trees. Thus, it's very, very flexible. I start again with a very, very light color because I don't want it to affect the composition too much. Put my block in place and now begin to fill in. Yes, it's exactly what I wanted to do. Right. Now this, again, isn't a real attractive green to finish off with, but it's my basic green. To a darker shade again. Same sort of buildup. I almost don't even need to mention it. You know what I'm going to do. Now, I want a touch of color. I'm going to go to a stamp that we call scattered flowers and just isolate one or two of the flowers. And I'm going to do it very, save time by doing it by starting with yellow and just put a few flowers in among the greens. Now a trick is you don't need to clean your stamp when you just go on to the next shade darker, such as orange. Use the orange here. Then go on to pink. Again, not even cleaning the stamp. Because I was hurrying, I have a little area down here where green from the stem has gotten into the area that I want to stay white. I go to a correction pen available at any stationery store. I love these correction pens. They don't clog up. All you do is shake, begin pressing, and you get white out. Love white out. Okay, and I'm going to go right over this area, and you're not even going to see where it has shown. And I get rid of the area where I got green, and I see an area over here. Everyone makes mistakes. Now, a reason for the card. Let's make it into a thank you note. So I'm going to take the words thanks a bunch, and of course we're going to blend the colors. Now, previous to this time, we blended the colors vertically. Now let's blend them horizontally. In looking at the composition, I want to pick up colors that I've used. I've used blues. I've used lavenders, purples. Let's maybe start with a light lavender over the top. go to maybe a magenta, like a medium, then finish up with a real rich purple. Now remember, that purple is very strong, so I go back to my previous shade and blend. Just for safe measure, I'm going to go to the stamp positioner. Got a piece of tracing paper. Quickly put it in the corner. Lightly place Thanks a Bunch down. Position it where I want it. Boy, it gives me the flexibility of really getting it where I want it to go. I like its composition right here. I put the positioner back, breathe on the stamp, and press. There are many other uses for this positioner, but right now I'm just addressing this most useful one. And we have a finished composition. Clearly Wrap that I used as a vase is a very flexible stamp. What I want to now show you is the different ways in which it can be used, not only as a holder for florals, but as a container for many, many other things. I'm often asked, do I use airbrush? No, I don't. I use a makeup wedge to get an airbrush look. That way I don't have to have as much equipment. The makeup wedge needs to be a quality product, tightly woven sponge. You use the triangle portion that comes to a perfect point. Now notice each color of pen that I use, I have marked with a number above. Number 8 is not white, but here you can see 52 is a pale green, 48 is a medium green. Now I'm selecting pens specifically for use on the sponges that have worn down. It's a great suggestion for those pens that you're almost ready to throw out. And it's very, very easy to use. I have 2 keys. I say practice sponging and use your sponge dry. If you remember those 2 secrets, you're in business. Let's do sky. Sky is one thing that I sponge more than anything else. I take a sponge, let's get the sponge marked 53. That's a very light blue. And I find my 53 worn down marker. I put my brush art marker right on the sponge and get it loaded up with ink. Now, this is the key. Wear it down until it's very, very dry. It's about right now. I start in a corner of my composition and just arc that soft color. You see it's very soft, and this is an important point. When you're building up your sponging, you want to build up slowly. You don't start with a real dramatic color. Remember to blot it off. We have a very, very subtle effect. Now moving to a little more dramatic effect. Going on to marker number 36. One other suggestion that will be very helpful is when you're blotting off your sponge, make sure to blot off the edges. A telltale sign of someone new using the sponges is big dramatic sponge lines on the composition, and you don't want that. So we've wiped off the number 36. Now this is getting deeper, but you still see how very, very soft and subtle it is. Now let's get the other side. One shade darker and we'll be in business. Let's go to number 10 now. 10 is so close to 36 that I'm using the same sponge. I also want to get depth below through sponging. So I'm going to take sponge number 48 with pen number 48, making sure it's dry, going from the corner, and now filling in the ivy with some soft background sponging. Don't forget, it's wiping off the sponge and getting it very dry. That's when you have control. Now, I'm very eager to show you the difference. Before sponging, after sponging. Do you see how this completes your composition? All right, now this is just the beginning of techniques with sponging. I could talk for hours on it. However, I'm going to shorten it. The next effect are sunsets. And I want to show you how you can take a composition to get through this much, much more quickly. I've already stamped out my new address composition, but it's very, very blank and open, as you can see. Now, the sun gives me a wonderful jump-off point to do a sunset. So now I'm going to go to my very light color yellow. Get it all dried off and go around the sun. A color that blends very well into number 5 is number 59. It's a very light pink. Good sunset color. And again. From there, we'll go to a little more dramatic, like a coral, 35. You'll notice because the sponge is so soft and hardly has any ink on it, it's not disturbing any of the ink colors below it. Now let's go to 31, lavender. And again. And we're going to finish up with some normal colored sky, like 36. So I've got 36 here. Oops, here we go. And we have our completed sunset card. I'm just too eager to show you other sunsets. So now you will see an entire array . In many examples, you'll see me use a fishbowl as a vase. Now, my technique for that is very simple. I put the flowers in the vase. In fact, let me show you up close. Here's my fishbowl. I'm adding a flower. I'm adding an array of flowers. I'm adding a bunch of flowers and my floral filler. Now the marbles, how are they done? Very simply, only by inking up the berries from the holly stamp, you can get wonderful marbles. So I've inked those up in blue and covered the bottom of the fishbowl with marbles. Then, through the sponging technique of a reverse mask, I am able to sponge in the water, as you can see here. Now that brings me to another type of sponging that is truly exciting and dramatic, and that I call maximum sponging. Now I'm going to give you an illustration of how I do that. I've taken and previously stamped a card with some flowers at the top, and I've purposely left the vase open. You don't see any stems in it. These aren't the types of flowers. Then I've taken a reverse mask. I've stamped it on a card. I've stamped it on a piece of paper so that I have a reverse mask to cover it. Now, when I go to sponge, I don't wipe off the sponge. I get full color. I'm taking number 8 and I'm getting a rich purple. Now what I'm doing is really inking up. I'm not going to blot this at all. I think you're going to be amazed at what a wonderful effect you can get. Make sure that's covered, and now I just stamp solid. All right, this you have to see. You have a full vase. Now, I do need touch-up. Now, you'll notice that I left the little areas where we have highlights cut into it. So I have a ridge here that needs taking care of with my touch-up pens. So now I go to that same color. I have an edge here just for touch-up. And if I've left any area showing, this is where I fill it in. Now you see how even your coverage is, even though you did it 3 or 4 times, re-inking the stamp. Now, just for fun, I'm going back to a favorite technique, which is sticker paper. I've previously stamped the Brilliant Butterfly. Now I'm going to crack and peel off the back and make it into a designer vase, shall we say. Putting this right in the middle. And here we have a butterfly vase. Just so you'll see all of the different uses of this vase, we're going to show you an array. This is the special effects portion of our video. I'm going to begin with embossing, simple embossing. You don't use pens on your image for a very good vehicle to emboss. Embossing ink needs something staying wet longer. So we go to a pigment pad. These pigment pads, you'll know they're pigment pads, they cost more. This one has been designed by Colorbox, and it's a great pad loaded with ink. I've chosen the silver gold combination, a fabulous combination. Now, one thing about the making of these pads, the pad rises so that if my stamp seems larger, it doesn't matter. We take the pad to the stamp, like this. And it's covered with silver ink. Now I'm going to stamp that silver ink down on a piece of paper. Great part about this is that it will stay wet long enough for me to adhere embossing powder. Now, embossing powder, let's open it up, is almost like thermographic ink. It needs to be heat activated. You spread it on liberally, and you shake off all the excess. Just give it a little shake. Now, the other thing that makes embossing so simple and easy is a precision heat tool, or a heat gun, right over the top of the image. You can see it changing before your very eyes. Isn't this a dramatic effect? This is called Rainbow Sparkle and is half embossing powder and half glitter. All right, that is very simple to begin with. Okay. Now I want to show you more drama through embossing. We're going to take a vase. This time let's put it in the gold side of the pad. Even better than that, let's do a 50-50. Okay, top silver, bottom gold. It's going to be fun. I'm going to stamp it on a dark paper. Press real hard. See your image? Now let's put, ooh, translucent gold, I think, on top. Shake off your excess. Put it right back in the container. And now apply heat. If you don't happen to have a precision heat tool in your home, you can use an iron at wool setting. You can even put the toaster down the switch, and over the top of the toaster, you can heat it from the bottom up. But our favorite is the precision heat tool. Now you see the wonderful variation we got with the translucent gold and how dramatic it is. One more experiment. This time I'm going to use a very special psychedelic powder. This is going to change colors before your very eyes. I'm going to take the Marsh Wildflower stamp, put it first in silver, stamp. When we do multiple stampings, you can just stamp, shake on your embossing powder. In this case, the psychedelic. And before heating, let's try it in gold. Gold is an underbase. I'm going to do the gold right over the silver. Why not? Get a gold-silver combination. Okay, now our psychedelic ink. Fun to make a mess. Here's the real show. The longer I apply the heat, the more it changes color. As you can see, it's a wonderful, wonderful type of a powder. Now I want to finish this up because we love glitz with another tool. You see how gorgeous the colors are with the psychedelic embossing powder. Now we're going to add another touch. We take a glue pen, which dispenses tacky Post-it note glue. Just go in the center of the flower. And now dip it in our holographic glitter, which I have contained in this glitter holder. Now look at the added sparkle. Now let's make a design out of all of these elements and put them together. So I work quickly. I have all of these elements cut out. And let's arrange them in a composition. But I'm not going to use normal paper. I have been having such fun with wonderful glitzy vinyls. They're sticky back. And what I've done here is to take a card peeled off the vinyl and put it over the top. To show you how that's done, I'm going to take another color, like this magenta. Take off the backing. And set it right down like a matting effect on top. Ooh, even more glitz. Now let's take the vase and the arrangement of flowers. We only need about 3. And we have a wonderful composition. Now, how do we attach these? It's easy. I love mounting squares, heavy-duty mounting squares, such as you would use in an album. I'm going to just grab some scissors and make these little squares smaller. You don't need much. You pull off both sides. Pull off one side first. Take off the top sides. And do the same with each flower. And we have a finished glitzy combination. Now, you haven't seen anything yet. And now on to glitter. Very easily done. We take the glue pen. We take a completed image. Glitter is the last thing that you add to your composition. These hearts I want to really pop out and have razzmatazz. So I'm just going to follow the whole feel of the heart sketch, smaller version of what we showed earlier. Remember, this is tacky Post-it note glue. It dries instantly. You don't have to do this right away either. You can wait a week. Now, for ease, I've taken a frame and filled it with Prisma glitter. Gets dipped in here. We shake off the excess. What I do is just snap, and it gets all of the excess off, and wow, look at the difference. Now we could glitter the streamers. We could glitter everything in this composition, but we'll just stop at this. Now another look. We're beginning with a very simple combination of Posh Pops. And again, we follow the outline of the lollipop. Boy, will this look fun with glitter on it. Okay, one more. Give it a glitter bath. And look at the enrichment of the composition with glitter. Now there's another application that I want to share with you of this glue stick and glitter. The glue pen has a flat edge, so if you write calligraphically, you can use it like a calligraphy pen. You also can use it as a fine line pen by using the edge. All right, let's write stamps. All right, now this is going to dry instantly, and I can put it in an array of glitters. Let's just even go ahead with the Prisma. And watch this stand out. See? See how useful a tool this can be? It's fabulous. Now I've got a very new product and a new discovery to share with you for enrichment under the enrichment techniques area. This is called liquid applique, a product that has come out by Marva Uchida. A great product. The only disadvantage to this product is you need to apply it the night before finishing it up by raising the image. In other words, here I have liquid applique with this very, very small point, and I'm going to take an image I maybe want to enrich and blow up, or raise rather. See how easily I've gone over the image? Now this needs to sit about 6 hours. This can be done on fabric as well as paper. Okay, fortunately, we were busy bees last night, and we got the whole arrangement completed with liquid applique. And as I said, it's had a chance to sit. Okay, we take, again, the Precision Hot Tool. You can do this with an iron or a hair dryer as well. And we go over the image and watch it raise. It's coming. Wow. Look at the dimension. Now, on top of that, we're going to give it glitter without any adhesive. We go back to our Prisma glitter again, dip it in the glitter. Doesn't even have to be warm. It has so many different areas. And shake it off. And wow. Sorry to say wow so many times, but these are very, very effective techniques. Now, I don't want to stop without showing you what can be done in the winter months. Here we have a composition of like a snow village. I like to think of this as mountain cabins. And I've applied the white liquid applique over some of the trees and over the buildings and so forth. Now let's heat this up. Can you believe the difference? Now I'm going to give it another glitter bath for the final touch. And look again. Winter fantasy. Now you're going to be seeing so many more illustrations of liquid applique with the addition of glitter. suggestions for use of your rubber stamps? I've got lots. Let's start with wrapping paper. You see here, when you have a white piece of wrapping glossy paper, you can stamp right on the image. First, I take a piece of white glossy wrapping paper, stamp the roses, in this case on the paper, form it around the package, and we've got a wrap package. I never overstamp. I make sure I'm just doing it on the part that counts, sometimes only on the front. Now, this, for instance, you can't stamp over a dark surface. These are water-based pens. So in this case, what did I use? Sticker paper. I stamped the soldiers on sticker paper, cut them out, and applied them on a dark surface. Now that's not all. I am so crazy, I stamp on my checks. As you can see, it's very easy. In fact, the bank suggests it, if you don't like the design of the checks, to go to a stamp store and get something more interesting. Flowers, thanks if you're reimbursing someone, and I love pleading lady, please accept my late payment. I never get overcharged. On to stamping envelopes. If you don't do anything else, stamp an envelope. Here we have a wonderful colored envelope, a Halloween envelope, a patriotic stamped envelope, birthday envelope. And here we've taken quite a different method, which we don't really have time to go into, but we've stamped on a watercolor paper, then taken a watercolor brush marker, just a watercolor actually pen, and dipped it in water to reactivate the ink, making it much, much stronger. A fun way to stamp. On to special cards. The stand-up card, of which I have two fun examples to show. We even go into musical cards and fun envelopes. You can see how this was stamped as a happy birthday stamp. We press the button, which has been disguised with a posh peony stamp, and we have a happy birthday message. While we're on the happy birthday message singing, let's go on to a pop-up birthday card. Another. Wishing you well. And now explosion cards. Here's a wow, wait until you see what's inside, and you've got an explosion of color and design in a note that says thanks a bunch. You're so thoughtful. Another explosion. Thank you. Calendars are another fun way to rubber stamp. Here we've designed the Posh Pocket Calendar, and as you can see, each page has been hand stamped. What a gift to give someone. Now on to invitations. My whole belief is, if you take the time to hand stamp an invitation, everybody will come. A fun type of a card is a trifold, where a large piece of paper is stamped and it's merely divided into 3 sections. Those 3 sections are folded so that when it opens out, you have an entire dramatic long card. A Christmas trifold. As you're beginning to see, it's endless. Summer. Holiday. Circus. Another idea are Christmas cards. I have several cards that have been hand stamped or added to stationery. In this case, this is a piece of stationery and we've added an embossed poinsettia on a mount. Embossed bells with holly. Again over a card, embossed in rainbow sparkle embossing powder, stockings. You can see how dramatic these examples are. Another invitation. This, by the way, is the envelope to fit the invitation. And a Christmas note. Just to conclude, I am so crazy about rubber stamping that I stamp in my organizer calendar. January, February, hearts, March, April, May, June, July. To summarize, I've shown you how to get organized, then how colors work so well on the back of bold images, how to blend those colors so that they're smooth in transition, then an entire composition, what to check for, how to combine your stamps together to get an overall effect. From then, the wonderful touch of sponging to finish off designs. And then we went into enrichment techniques, such as embossing and glitter and liquid applique. And then finally, you have ideas on which to apply your rubber stamps. At this point, all I can say is keep stamping.